just wait a few seconds. Okay?
Did you can in those days?
Oh,
Did you-
of course I did.
Yep.
Conservation Commission meeting, August 25th, 2021. Present are
Susan Tucker.
Carlos Adams, Select Board's rep.
Patty Gale, staff.
Jean Walker.
Amy Pollak.
Chuck Freiberger.
Okay, first on the agenda, we have map 33, lot 17 and 18. Request for relief of the outer 50 of the 100-foot wetland conservation district buffer and a lot line adjustment subdivision plan for proposed lot line adjustment between two lots that will create another new third lot. Property is located in 94 and 98 New Boston Road, owned by Falcon Heights Property LLC, Zone Residential 1. Do we have someone here to present this? Okay. Would you come forward, please? Thank you. And just state your name.
Mike Dahlberg, I'm the land surveyor that prepared the plans for Falcon Heights Properties. Thank you for your time. So, lots 3317 and 3318 exist, and there's enough frontage and lot area on lot 17 to create lot 3317-1. There is lot 3317-1 is bounded entirely on the west by either Bog Brook or the wetlands associated with Bog Brook and the area to the north between that and Piscataqua. And in order to access that proposed lot, we need to construct a driveway that goes through the outer 50-foot of the 100-foot wetlands buffer. Where the driveway is proposed is in the existing field section of the property, and it's relatively flat. It's about 2% from where the driveway leaves the road to where the house site's going to be. So it's really flat and it's in the open field. Again, we would not be disturbing any of the natural woodland buffer, the tree buffer to the wetlands. You do have a function and analysis report from Alden Boschman of Keyland Enterprises that was submitted as part of the package for the conditional use permit. And in that report, the conclusion is that due to the location of the proposed driveway in the existing field and minimal disturbance for the proposed drive and the associated grading across that flat, essentially flat slope, there won't be any impact to the resource. I did read the email from member Andrew. I don't know his last name. Andy, and while I understand the thrust of his comments, there is no way that the flow of Bog Brook would ever wash that entire corner away. The house site is about 12 feet above the grade of the brook at its lowest. At 12, if there's if there's a 12-foot head of water coming down Bog Brook that washes that house out, we're all gone. Not to be flip, but it's just, it doesn't happen. Bog Brook does not have that big of a watershed. And nothing happened to that property during the Mother's Day floods of 2006 and 2007. And that wooded buffer between the east side of the brook and the tree line that's shown on the plans is heavily wooded. There's no erosion now on the bank, and there won't be any after the driveway would be constructed.
The whole driveway has to go through the 50.
It has to go through the outer half of the outer 50 feet. So there'd be about a 75-foot buffer from the edge of the driveway to the edge of the wetlands, which is not, in that location is not the same as the brook. The brook is another 35 feet to the west. So the 100-foot setback from the actual brook itself is easily maintained. It's just the edge of the adjacent wetlands to the brook that the 100-foot buffer is measured from. And again, we're coming off of New Boston Road at a 2% downgrade for drainage. And then we're gonna approach the house site at about 2% positive grade. That's relatively flat in terms of most driveways in Goffstown. And with the field, the well-established field that's in place now in the wooded buffer, there is more than adequate area to protect that resource.
Okay, on this one, it appears that there's a lot of wet right next to this lot, that all around it is pretty wet.
Well, it is,
Yeah,
but we clearly meet the requirements for a subdivision. And that's the only impact that needs to occur for the development of this lot. Everything else can be contained within the 100-foot setback at the house site.
Just the driveway, like going through it.
Yeah, just the driveway,
And it's just going through the buffer, the outer buffer.
right. There's town water, there will be on-site septics. The water table is between 3.5 and 5.5 feet for seasonal high. So under today's rules and effluent disposal system designs, there'll be in-ground systems, will be mounted. So basically, the grade that's there today, other than where the house is and the turnaround at the driveway, is pretty much gonna stay the same on all 3 lots, once the finish and final grades are complete.
this is, would anybody else have any comment on this?
Well, yeah, I guess I do. I guess I'm not inclined to grant relief to new property that was just purchased with full knowledge of what the rules were. So, we've just seen a lot of this.
Yes, Susan?
So as this lot sits now, it's 3318 and 3317, is that
Correct.
correct? And the 3319 and the 3319-1 had already been broken off.
That was somebody else's property.
That was somebody else's property at the time. So this is a new owner that wants to subdivide this.
Correct.
I feel the same way as Chuck. We have this 100-foot setback in order to protect our waterways, and this is a new piece of land and a new development, and I'm hesitant to
Yeah, but
allow that.
doesn't the ordinance allow for this with a conditional use permit?
Well,
We have allowed, if there's an existing something there and somebody wants to put a deck on, and they're gonna infringe within that buffer. But, we're starting with a piece of land that has this 100-foot setback for a reason, because it was put in the regs because we wanted to protect the waterways. So, since there's nothing on it now, I don't know why we would allow
We're
to be
starting
subdivided
we're
and
starting with
have-
something brand new.
push you into that buffer.
And this can be wet here. Wetter. Anybody else have a comment on?
I agree with the comments on the floor now.
Yeah, you know, unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of this.
Right, and we're trying,
As if this is just a recommendation. It's not. It's
So
part of
what
our
we're
zoning.
doing is we're gonna do a lot line adjustment.
And-
Zoning says you can't do it unless you get a conditional use permit from the planning board. And so a lot of times, people are flipping this around to say, well, if we can get a conditional use planning board, then why are you having concerns? And you ought to be able to sign on to this. And I'm not so sure that's correct. And it's unfortunate that there's a lot of property like this in Goffstown, but it's just the way it is. You know, and when there's nothing on it, and there's the ability to build on it in some manner or another, and honor those setbacks, all of them, even the 50-foot, then I think it's incumbent upon the applicant to honor
Right.
those.
right, and when you're starting with a brand-new, clean slate, there's nothing there right now, and it needs to honor that, and I think Andrew had the same thing, pretty much said that long-term with the bank, he's concerned about the property, too.
There was an email that was passed out from Andrew, because he couldn't be here, so
Yeah. So, thank you.
saying his concern.
Anybody else, Amy?
Can I ask a question
And-
to call us
and
now?
Alden and Joe both know this. I mean, they do a lot of work in Goffstown. I mean, they're familiar with the way
Right.
Goffstown's zoning and development regulations are set up.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question, Calls? For the state, you're allowed to cross a wetland though, right, for a driveway? Is it just for the crossing?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
because,
But they still have to avoid and minimize. If there's another place that they can do a smaller impact area or avoid it, then they
Right.
need to do that.
Because
and this is more.
what is the intent of this other piece of property next to it? Do you know?
Which property, ma'am?
The larger lot that's wet? I don't-
That's not our
You're looking
property.
at the wrong plan.
That's not yours?
You're looking at
No.
the wrong plan, it's on the top.
Oh, this one,
Yep.
okay.
That's
not-
Mr. Harridan's property.
This is the one that
Okay.
Mike's doing.
That other piece, okay.
And you know, Mike, we don't mean to come down on this project or you, but, you know, when the Wetlands and Surface Water Surface Water Conservation District was approved by the voters, it was approved overwhelmingly. I mean, they
Right.
wanted to see this because they thought these protections were important. And I don't think we should ignore that, because in my mind, it's going against what the voters wanted. I mean, they wanted these things in place for a reason. They thought that these resources were valuable, they needed to be protected with these setbacks. And I think they would look to us.
We need to do that.
Yeah, I think we need to honor that and do what the voters intended. Otherwise, they would have said no to this. Or they would have said, change it to something else, and they didn't. They said, we like it, it's great, leave it in place, do what you're doing. And I would agree, when you've got a piece of property that, I mean, you can build on it, it's not that you can't build on it, you may have to modify the layout a bit, but
Right.
But didn't the planning board and the zoning board and the conservation come up with the reason, the conditional use permit to address situations like this, and it doesn't apply just to lots of record? We've done this in other places all over town, where someone wants to put up a garage after a subdivision parallel to the wetlands, and there's gonna be some grading within
yeah.
the outer 50 feet. It's been done many times before in Goffstown. I've done it myself.
Well, we have done it when there's been an issue, like somebody might have had a deck, like Susan said, that they wanted that kind of went into the 50, or a corner of a garage may have been, and we've been, but this is starting with a brand-new lot altogether. So it's
Well,
not like there's something there that we're working around.
I'm not trying to be argumentative, but the one up on Kennedy Hill Road was a brand-new subdivision, and the additional work was for a garage and a barn that was being put up a year after the house was constructed, and the subdivision was done.
And that was several years ago.
under the same rules.
We have the same boards.
Well, pardon me, but the ordinance and the rules allow for this with a conditional use permit.
Well,
So I understand where you're coming from. I just don't think it's fair where other people have done this in town all over the place.
I think we're allowing, there's enough room on this lot, if it was kept as one lot. There is space to put, so we're not saying he cannot build on the lot. We're saying that the subdivision, how it's subdivided, is not, is,
Well, the minimum frontage pushes us downhill to keep the driveway on the proposed lot. And the New Hampshire Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court has repeatedly ruled that highest and best use is the landowner's right to pursue.
Highest
Now-
and best use that conforms with all of the rules, laws, and regulations that are in place.
Well, that's why we have a zoning ordinance and we have a zoning board of adjustment for
Right.
appeals.
Yeah. And that's why we have conditional use permit process,
Right,
to
so,
allow for extenuating circumstances.
so the extenuating circumstance is this, is you have two lots of record, one of which can have an adjusted lot line, and create a new lot so that you can provide housing to people in town where there's no other housing. There is a housing shortage.
Well, there's 2 lots now that can be built on, and
Right.
that's how it stands now.
I understood, but there's,
That's what my final ruling would be.
that there are 2 lots that can be built
Yeah.
on.
the opportunity to subdivide a third is there. We meet all the requirements. And with the conditional use permit, we can still get this done.
Is it a conditional use permit or a relief of the buffer? Because that's what I'm looking at, the relief. I just want to make sure when I go
The
recommend.
conditional use permit is required to be approved by the planning board to gain relief from,
Do you need both, though?
With input from the Conservation Commission.
we need input from the Conservation
Well, because
Commission.
this is not the conditional use permit, that's why.
Right, the planning board can still approve this the way it is.
'Cause
I
this is
highly,
a-
I highly doubt that they're gonna go against the Conservation Commission. I don't mean to say that, but. Well, we've made our pitch, and we've heard the Conservation Commission clearly, so you can give your recommendation however you'd like to the planning board, and we'll see if we can't work it out.
So this is on for the 23rd to
Yep.
go to the planning board, so he is here to make a recommendation.
So what is the size of the impact within the?
I think it's
50 feet.
4,000.
Yeah, it's over
4,500 square
Yeah,
feet.
I'm looking at numbers. Just when somebody's done-
you need a motion?
Driveway, I see a proposed culvert.
A motion to recommend or not recommend or whatever you
Well,
choose.
Not to, yeah, just not to,
Someone has to make a motion.
not to recommend,
Not to recommend a conditional use permit plan. Is that what our recommendation should be?
I would say in relief of the outer buffer because
That's what we're
this isn't a
gonna
conditional use permit
so
application.
not,
That's what we're
no,
being asked to do.
no
Okay.
relief of the outer 50.
So moved.
And you had said there were 2,
I second it, yeah, and that there's 2 buildable lots now.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor of the
And the
motion?
reason is there are 2 buildable lots now.
Yes.
2 lots, yeah.
You don't want to add anything to that?
Well, it's not just that, it's the disturbance of, the land along the, I mean, the bog.
I'm asking for something to be added to
To
what I'm
sit-
sending to the planning board,
I
then
think you
just
need to
not
add something
recommend.
about that. Disturbing the buffer along Dog Brook.
Yeah, it's a significant resource.
Extensive, yeah. It is a slippery resource.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
It
it's,
sounds like it's a little stream.
right. Or an isolated wetland pocket, you know,
Right.
it's Bog Brook.
It's significant stream. Okay. All right. So you seconded it?
Amy?
Would you read it again? So I'm sure what I'm doing.
I'm writing to not recommend a conditional use permit / relief of the outer 50 feet of the wetland buffer. There are 2 existing lots that can be built on, and this is a significant, I'm gonna say brook, because it's Bog Brook. Brook, and the commission does not recommend the disturbance.
And Andrew's comment didn't sound like he was,
Yeah, that was something
Andrew's
different.
comment didn't sound like he was in
He was worried about flooding.
He was worried about, yeah. Okay, do we have a vote on that? All those in favor of the,
I,
Aye.
aye. Okay, opposed? Okay, abstaining? No?
So,
Okay.
4-0.
Thank you for coming in.
Oh, thank you for your time. Have a good rest of your summer.
I'm gonna get everything.
Okay. we have- I know, I've got all this stuff.
You wanna save the big one?
Yeah, I have to say those because I was building the planning
I'll
board.
just put them over here for now. We have a second one that's map 9, lot 15, 16, and 18. Lots, line adjustment between the 3 lots located at 83 and 87 Terrell Hill Road, owned by Sargent Construction Zone Agricultural. Do we have anyone here to present this?
That's all right, Sue's
That's
doing
okay,
it
I
already.
knocked it over first.
Susan put it up there.
Sorry, I guess I didn't fasten it.
No, I bumped it. Thank you. My name is Eric Mitchell. I'm here to present this plan. Robert Ferris is here also, who's the applicant, Strategic Contracting. These are 3 existing lots on Terrell Hill Road. We're not proposing a subdivision. We're just doing a lot line adjustment to change some of the lots. The plans that you have may seem a little bit hard to understand. We've been asked to give some color copies to the planning board, which the planning office, which we have. This first sheet, as we just color it up in green, is what the existing lots look like. Lot number 16, which is here, is just under an acre. This is the lot right here now. Lot 15 is about 4 acres. That's the lot here. And the remainder piece out back, which is lot 18, has a strip of land that comes down to the Terrell Hill Road and goes up and back. It's over 30 acres, and it also has frontage down here, even though it's not accessible from Terrell Hill. So that the existing, the way it is today, is we have lot 16, which is less than an acre, lot 15, which is over 4 acres, and the lot 18 is 33 acres. What we're proposing to do, and also lot 16 has a house on it. I believe there used to be a house on here, but it may have been destroyed by a fire. And that was some time ago. This sheet shows in color what we're proposing to do. The lot 16, again, this was just 1 acre. We're making it larger, giving it more frontage, which conforms to zoning, as well as making it at least 2 acres in size, which will conform in zoning, so we're making it bigger. Lot 15 is being reduced from 4 acres down to 2 acres. And lot 18, which is out and back, we're giving it a wider width of frontage. If you look at the other plan, we just add a little strip down through here. We're making the bigger strip so you get access to the back. So we're not, it is a lot line adjustment, just moving lot lines between the parcels. The biggest thing that we're doing, I think the advantageous thing is that lot number 16, which is 1 acre, and there in the setbacks is being increased to make it to 2 acres. So it's being made bigger. The one thing I'm not sure about is how the wetland buffers pertain to this particular piece of property. The lot 16 was, we have references that it existed back in 1915, so it's been a small lot like that for a very long time. These other lots were also in existence back into the, prior to the ordinance came into effect in '93. So I know that lots, existing lots that were in place when the ordinance was put in place in '93, I believe, don't have setbacks. In this case, where we have lot 16, we have shown setbacks because the planning board asked us to put them on the plan. I just don't know if they're applicable because the lots all existed prior to that, and that's a point of discussion here. Now, what we're trying to do, certainly on the lot 16, we would not be doing any building within the 50-foot of it, just because we don't need to be down in that far to it. But the area of the building in through here may be within 100 feet, because we want to keep it further from the lot line. But I guess that's just an open question for right now, is there an explanation anyone can give me whether the 50 or 100-foot setbacks apply to these lots where they existed?
I see. Joanne had talked to Nancy about changing, because she was wondering if you needed to ask for a waiver. And Nancy had stated that no, not with this, but if once you went to build, you now would be under the new setback requirements.
So for the lot line adjustment, we
Because you're
don't need
changing
it,
the lot lines.
but
But how it exists now, that house can remain there. That house wouldn't have to get a relief. But if, when you add something new, you will be subject to it because you're changing the lot lines.
okay, and we can talk to her too.
Yeah,
The
you might want to.
The house that you can see that is here right now is, this is the 50-foot setback, so it's between 50 and the 100-foot is where it is. If somebody, let's say, if someone wanted to take that same footprint and didn't build any closer to the wetland than what it is, and built from this side of the house out that way, is that something that would still require relief from zoning or through the permit by the planning board?
That you probably should talk to Nancy about, because what you're asking is going further away from it, it's not the
Yes,
closest
yeah.
point. But I think we have seen them in the past once they're, because it still is within the buffer and you're changing the lot lines. But you have another point that's closer, so oftentimes it's looked at differently, like more, it's not going closer, it's going the opposite way, and there's already something there.
Sure.
But you may want to touch base with Nancy on that, but I do know she said you didn't need to request the waiver to do the lot line adjustment.
Okay, and I'm only bringing that up because I'm not from, usually we do subdivisions. When you subdivide a lot, then you're automatically put you in the buffers that you have to deal with. But here, we're taking existing lots of record that were here before the ordinance and actually making them bigger, making them better. But for what we hear now, because this application is before the planning board, we come before the commission because that's the process. All applications come before you. I don't know if there's any additional input, but we are making the situation better in terms of the building on lot 16 because we're giving more upland further away from the wetland.
And you're making it conforming, aren't you, 2
Yeah.
acres?
You're
So
taking
you're
them-
making the lots
Making it
conform.
conforming frontage-wise as well as lot size-wise.
Yeah, so you're making a non-conforming lot 16 conforming by increasing the size to greater than 2 acres.
And then
So now
kind of being punished because now we're gonna extend our wetland setbacks.
Well,
Well, that's something we can ask Nancy about on that, as to whether that,
Is what I've heard you guys say, or
I
Pat.
wouldn't say it's punishment, but
Yeah,
Because
it's
once you
gonna say-
change the lot line,
you're
Right.
resetting
it's in-
everything.
we're not
Yeah.
gonna punish
It's
anybody.
reset.
Stepping into the next zone.
feels like punishment.
Right, so I guess it's good to know, it's a
So-
good question, because if we see some building going on here, we're going to hold you to well, I won't, it depends on what's on there, but we could hold you to the 100-foot setback.
Setback.
Only if this goes through. Only if the lot line adjustment happens, right?
Well, and I don't, it's a question I had because didn't know the answer, and I don't know what the history has been with the commission and other circumstances. But because Nancy has spoken, that is the person to go to get the advice from.
Yes, it's her
And
determination.
if she's saying that there would have to be relief once this goes through, it can go through the way it is, but if you want to build in it afterwards, you need relief, we can talk to her about that again, because again, we're making things non-conforming, making it actually conforming, not less non-conforming, making it conforming. So we'll check with her. But I can also say that where the applicant would prefer to stay away from the wetland as much as he can. He doesn't want to build down even an existing lot right there. To rebuild that house or to put another house on there, it's pretty tight to do it. So making it
The
bigger.
existing house that we're seeing here up close to Terrell Pond Road?
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with the lot line adjustment, I don't know that we need any specific input from the commission because we're doing it, and we'll talk to Nancy about when the house goes for construction, just to confirm what she has told Patty, that we need to get relief if we need it. I don't.
Yeah, we would still be
So-
concerned about the 100-foot setback.
Mhm.
That would still,
So dimensionally, we're making all the lots conforming now.
right, because this was not 2
So the
acres
question
and
is-
should have been 2 acres in agricultural, yeah.
Yeah, question is, how do we apply the setbacks? Right, Eric?
Yeah.
The question, how do we apply the setbacks to the newly created lots that have been created as a result of a lot line adjustment? In my opinion, once you create that new lot through a lot line adjustment, that new lot has
That's
to
a new
conform.
lot.
That has to conform with
To-
all of the standards.
Right.
That's
And
been
that's my
precedence in the past, so.
Yeah, because it's new.
Right.
Because otherwise, I think and I'd have to think this through, but I think if you flipped it around, you could do more harm than good
Yeah,
by this kind of an action. But
yeah. And I did notice too on this, to get to one of those lots, you are going through the wet, I take it?
No.
No, okay, up to the lot.
No, there actually is the trail that goes right now. I mean, there is a crossing
Right
here
there.
at the back, but this is all acreage now that's going to be part of that.
Mm-hmm,
So building can be done, down through here. This is 2 acres here, this is more than, here's a setback here, this is much more than
Yeah.
2 acres to
Yeah.
build there, even though it's a 30-acre lot.
up here, this is, okay. I didn't know if you had a driveway going up to that lot.
No, that's just an existing trail, Woods Road, that goes through there now.
And this is pretty wet,
It is coming down through here.
yeah.
This is the back piece, which I think you have a piece of. We were just, here's a little crossing we were looking at on the other plans, the buildable areas down through here. This is upland here, but there is some wetland that goes down through there, and there's a draw that comes down through here. So there is, again, we just put the setbacks on here for reference. There is significant upland, but I'm not sure if anybody's gonna wanna build, put a 2,000-foot long driveway in just to
Yeah.
build up in here, when they have the room and the ability to do it down front.
Okay. So we're just concerned with these 3 lots.
Well, that's part of it, that's all.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
just,
a big lot.
right. That's why I was just wondering what the intent was up in here. Oh, that's all, while we're here.
So do we need to make a recommendation, or we just? do we
Well,
just go-
because part of technical review, you get plans, you make a recommendation to to the planning
Planning
board. So
board.
I had them come in because it had wetlands on it, and I was worried that you'd have some concerns, so I wanted him to explain the plan to you and to address those, rather than me trying to explain.
Yeah,
So just pass on if you have comments. if you don't have any comments.
I guess we should make a comment about
The wet,
if this is going to be a new lot of record, then it will have to abide by the current
Right. I
regulations.
think you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, it's not a additional lot, it's
It's
a
a
new
new
lot, or a
lot.
different lot, if you will,
Right,
than what exists right now. So
Right.
the new lot or the reconfigured lot has to comply with all of the
rules now,
regulations,
yeah.
right. Which include, we should probably just say it includes
Yeah,
the wetland, it'll include the wetland setback,
Wetland
just so
surface
it's
water.
clear.
right.
I mean, it's clear to you, but it's gonna be clear to the next person.
Are you
right?
staying from the future, but not ask for them to do the lot line adjustment? It doesn't have to.
We're saying for
You're
the,
saying if they were to build on it
right.
in the
The new
future, they
law
would have to
The
be.
new law would have to
Right.
comply with the,
Okay, so it's if they were to build in the future, it would have to meet the wetland setback. You recommend that it would meet the wetland?
as far
Right,
as,
but that would be looked at when they come in for a building.
Right.
Yeah, it would.
right.
And it
This,
would,
we,
depending on where they could be the
we're
inner
not
or the outer.
concerned about the lot line adjustment at this
Right.
time. We don't have a setback on that.
Right.
So do you want me to say there's no issues or concern with the lot line adjustment?
Mhm.
Right.
But if they were to build on it, they would have to comply with the
Right.
wetland setback?
Right.
I don't like that comment of no concerns.
I know, because we are
Because
concerned, right?
we do have a concern.
I'm referring to the lot line adjustment.
Right, but still,
We're still
if the,
concerned.
if the lot is sold, if this whole thing is sold and you're out of the picture, and the next person comes in and says, oh, yeah, and we've said, no,
They
we
said,
have no concerns, well, we do have a concern
So instead of saying no
about this.
concerns, we have no issues, maybe?
No comments on the lot line adjustment?
No?
Well, because as it exists now, I don't think he has a setback. As it exists
She's just
now.
trying to find another word for concern.
Yeah, I'm just like, because they were all before 93, and there's not, the wetlands itself, there is no, as they
Right, I
exist.
just want to be totally upfront
This
about
actually
what
makes
we're
it-
feeling.
We
so
don't
that-
need to mince words here, we do have a concern.
That's what
The
we do
concern
have
is
a
gonna be
concern.
what happens when they come to build on these lots,
Right.
these
Right.
newly configured
Right.
lots.
Right, so we do have a concern.
Yeah.
Right.
Their concern is that, that they're able to build on it without impacting
Right.
the
The,
wetlands and surface water conservation districts.
Right.
Right.
Because
But
the
that-
application for development review states the proposed use is house lots.
Right, because we want to be upfront, we don't want to
Right.
say, go ahead and do this, and then everything's going to be hunky-dory, and then all of a sudden, you come back in and say,
Well, did they
wait.
say that as part of the statement in the first place?
Yeah.
Right. Just-
Yeah, the reconfigured lots would have to meet the wetland setback.
And it's
we
a
just
head-
that.
Does that take care of the concern?
Oh, but we
And it's a
want to,
heads
we
up
when
want,
they-
we want to address the lot line.
And it's a heads up to the planning board when they're reviewing the lot line adjustments.
Adjustment.
By the way, when it comes time to build on these, you need to make sure that it's done properly, that's all.
That it would,
And it is-
any building would have to meet the wetland setback. So what it is what I was trying to refer to is, there's certain, when a lot was created for wetlands, not surface waters, depending on the size, they have certain setbacks. That's what I was referring to when lots were created,
Shrinking from 80 to 60.
which one of them's huge, so it might even have to meet the 100-foot anyway.
So instead of saying no
This one.
issues of
Prior
concern.
to 93, any wetlands, it doesn't have one. So if these were created before 1993, any size wetland didn't have a setback. But once they change the lot lines, they will have a setback.
Mhm. So put that in instead of no issues of concern.
What I thought, I'm just writing that any reconfigured lot would have, once a building permit, once they go to construct on the lot, they have to meet the setback? Is
Right.
that what you'd like me?
Right.
Does that sound good?
Current setback.
That's better than saying no issues of
The
concern.
current wetland setback. Okay. And I won't say anything about
Do we need to vote
no
on that?
comment to do the lot line adjustment itself. I won't say anything
This
about
is just
that.
a comment
Just
sent
a
out.
comment about newly created lots would have to meet the wetlands surface water setbacks. With-
And for the record, we're not trying to punish anybody, we're merely carrying out the charge that we've been given.
We have it.
Yep,
All set?
Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, I hope that was helpful. Um, We have the minutes, any corrections or acceptance of the minutes of July 21st?
I have to abstain, so you might not.
So we don't have enough-
voting
put it off
members.
to the next
We'll have
meeting.
to put it off. And as far as the correspondence, I think the PLC has, for the $109, we've got $109,000, 421, for the Gibson open space property has been approved, and I think we approved the funds at a previous meeting, but just
Yeah.
thought it. bring
Just
it
noted that they
Just
submitted
mention
a
it.
bill for it, yeah.
And as far as that, I don't see anything else for correspondence.
The tax collector is looking for a recommendation to the
Right.
select board.
We got the tax notices, did anybody see anything that they thought we would be interested in when they came through? There's another.
There's,
I
I
did-
put some, like, there's one right there, I just kind of,
Right.
because there was a lot of them.
Right there in front of Collis, maybe.
There's
Oh,
two
here
of
it
them
is.
right
I
there.
have-
You had them emailed to you, I didn't.
Right, I have mine here somewhere.
There's,
Oh, yeah.
There's,
Oh.
is there one right
Oh,
there?
okay.
Like,
Yeah, this one right here.
Yeah, I emailed them
Right
to you, and then I just printed off a couple of copies for
I
you to
saw
view
one
on
here
the
a minute.
table. Some of them could have been paid by now, too. I don't know, I haven't been updated on it. Planning board did look at them, and they had no comments.
I looked at them online and I didn't see anything that, in fact, I had just looked to see if Dana's Park had waterfront, that was the only.
Right, I didn't look at the,
Was the only.
I didn't look at all the
one.
maps, so,
That was the only one I had wondered about.
or is there anything that does not have a building on it that is
No, I don't.
They all have
adjacent?
I
They all
think-
have buildings,
I think
so.
They all have buildings
Okay,
on
so I
it.
was just thinking.
Oh, wait a minute, one doesn't, First and Tippin Rock Road,
Yeah,
Oh, right,
And you
that's,
know-
yeah, but the,
yeah,
that goes along with a bunch of them on First.
right, but that one,
and I think
Okay.
that's the only one.
Yeah.
I think everything else had some sort of building.
okay. I was just thinking if any of them were
Yeah.
adjacent to our conservation land,
Yeah.
then we would be interested if it was,
Right.
they didn't have a
I
building
didn't
on
see,
it,
I didn't
don't
see
think-
anything, Susan.
but I didn't, okay.
Okay. Is there anything else that need to be brought up out?
Yeah, I guess, are we under other business maybe? Is that where we're at right now? So the sewer commission came to the select board with the DPW to make modifications to the property, town property down at the East Union Pump Station parcel.
Right.
You know, it's where there's a drive down, carry down, people actually tried to launch boats there as well, to make improvements to it. And I think they're doing the right thing, their intentions are good. And I'm wondering if we shouldn't ask them to come get some reaction from us, because we're talking about the river right there.
I was just gonna say, that's right, the river.
Yeah, yeah. Again, it was just kind of a preliminary plan, for lack of a better word, that said, you know, we want to put a gate somewhere, we want to restrict parking, we want to put up signs, we want to put in riprap swales, and it's like, oh, okay, that's probably all, again, good intentions, but I'm
Maybe they
wondering
sh-
if we want to at least see it
Yeah,
and
Yeah, I think
what
that-
they're proposing to do.
sounds
Well,
like a
we
good
all
idea.
got all concerned about fixing up the area behind the wreck,
Right,
you know,
exactly,
protect us against the 1.5 ounces of dirt that might go in there.
yeah.
But, and, because I mean, this other place, it's just,
Oh, it's free for all.
it's a mess.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, they had a
Okay,
picture
if it was a
picture of, I
big
think it
construction.
was last weekend, there was 17 cars jammed in down there, they were all over the place. license plates from all over. So anyways, I just don't know what the commission wants to do about it. I would think you probably want to see it, what they're proposing to do,
What they,
and
yeah.
have an opportunity to comment on
So
it.
maybe we should invite,
And I'm not suggesting what they're proposing is inappropriate, it may be perfectly fine, but, I mean, we comment on other projects that have far less potential impact than this.
Right,
okay.
right. Yeah.
So I have so you want me to pass off to the sewer commission that you would like a presentation?
Yeah.
Or whatever,
An
whatever they're
opportunity, yeah.
proposing on East Union Street?
Yeah,
Yeah,
an opportunity to weigh in.
yeah. Especially if it's a big project.
Well, it's right there, I mean, it's right on the river, where the river comes into the lake at the
Yeah.
western end.
Okay.
Is that the funding secured for that, or are they using?
They're gonna use, I think it's a combination of funding, there's some Parks and Rec money, some
Okay.
DPW money. I mean, it's not a big expensive project, but
Okay.
it's a pretty sensitive area. as you
Yeah.
can
They're
probably
doing the
imagine.
parking lot too, right? They want to add some parking?
Yeah, they want to add some parking, they want to put up a gate to restrict access, they want to put in some stone line swales,
Okay, I
and,
think
and a porta potty.
we should be aware anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think we invite them in and let them know, okay? Anything else that we have?
I guess I just got a question. Did you hear anything from the River Advisory Commission about the thing that we recommended against approval on New Boston Road?
I haven't heard any more updates on that, other than the state we're supposed to go out and look at it. They both made a formal complaint to the state, and they were talking with the owners.
Was this the ATV?
Yeah,
Nothing's happened, right?
the state was looking into
Yeah.
it. That's the route we went to, was to have the state do it, and
Yeah.
they were.
And I think the state's put it on their inspection calendar.
Well, that wasn't what I was talking about.
But the PLC,
PL,
since
I'm
it,
talking about the PLC, but what I wanted to know was whether they had any interest in the New Boston Road thing that they had just, what we talked about. Where they're trying to, they're gonna try to do the dredging in along
whatever.
the first guy,
the first one, I have not.
Do they get all that stuff automatically now? They're supposed to, right?
No, we don't send it to them automatically now,
No.
because they're a board that goes through the state. They had asked something with planning, and they haven't changed anything, but I can send it to them.
I'm not trying to stir up anything. I was just curious. Okay.
They're advised, they do come in, and sometimes they look at stuff, they want to comment on it, but I have not submitted anything to them.
But if they get anything, they get it through the state.
They do, unless something was flagged, and there's some, what is their radius that they have for that? The Piscataqua Land Advisory?
It's like a couple hundred feet, I think.
Cause
Don't
so, you mean
Yeah.
for where it butts the river, but not
Yeah, the
the
advisory
Bog Brook?
committee.
Yeah,
How far is it from
Perlac,
the river?
Piscataqua River Local Advisory Committee you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think don't they look, the whole Shoreline Protection Act was 250 feet.
So are they 250 feet? Is it showing it? I was looking at Bog Brook, I wasn't looking at.
yeah.
But we definitely can forward it to them. They're not on until the 23rd, so I can send them a copy of the plan.
I'm not trying to create problems, so I just,
But no, we don't actually just, because they came to planning to ask that, and it wasn't determined that we were going to start a whole process, is what I was told.
And Glen Lake didn't have any milfoil work done this year.
No, they're not proposing any milk.
They, but Nemaska did, right? Because we
They
paid them.
did, and it was a small
It was
amount.
a
We
small
already-
amount.
Yeah.
Either we are doing a good job or something. But after all this rain, who knows?
Right.
So, anything else? So we'll make a motion to adjourn?
This motion to adjourn.
second.
Seconded by Chuck. All those in favor?
I.
Opposed? Abstaining? Yeah. Good night.